MrHODL's off screen trying to make his WWE Royal Rumble entrance.
Yeah.
Do you want the mic?
Oh God, that's HODL's music.
Because I'm just listening. Yeah.
He's backstage biting his fist like it's an apple. I offered you a microphone. If you come over here, you're going to be on cameras, but I will get you a microphone over there. That's MrHODL, by the way. Say hi, MrHODL.
Hello. How you doing? Hold on. In 2017, there was 7 different implementations other than Bitcoin Core. 7.
In what? Sorry?
There were 7 implementations other
in
than
2013.
Bitcoin Core. 2017.
17.
Yeah, what's the 7? Because I don't
that
want
was
to
the
shit
soft
talk
shit
too
show,
more.
right? That was Bitcoin Unlimited, Bitcoin
You had
XT.
BU, you had, well, no, not XT. You had LibBitcoin at that point. You had NOTs.
LibBitcoin's never been a full implementation, though.
Hold on, I'm trying to find the tweet because I had it from 2017 because I was arguing with Roger at that time.
LibBitcoin can do some stuff. It's never gotten to the point where it's a full implementation. NOTs has. So you had NOTs. NOTs is like number 2 away from the.
No, but NOTs is Bitcoin Core with just different like relay mempool policies. Like
you got to do Catholic stuff on it. And that's it.
There was ABC 1, 2, 3.
ABC
Classic.
ABC was Bcash.
So
yeah, but I'm not including those. Including those is a bit,
Well, the Bcash client was a Bitcoin client before Blockite, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. They started off as Bitcoin clients, and then you wait until the flag day, and then suddenly they're their own little separate shitcoin chain.
Fair. Yes, it takes a little bit of a mental adjustment for me to think about it that way, but I guess that's true.
Yeah, maybe that's an interesting point, which is I really got to the depth of where do they come from with this view of filtering. I'm getting out of the up return topic to go to the broader filtering topic, which is not affecting by up return. They have this view, Luke in particular, and he converted a few people to this view that we should not expect miners to behave upon their incentives. We should expect miners to behave upon what the community wants, which is completely ill-defined collective.
Subjective.
Yeah, it's just
His community.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we have this saying in French, which is "on est un con." It means we is a prick. Which is once you say we, you can assign anything because nobody takes responsibility anymore. You can say, oh yeah, we do this, we do that. You do not assign what individual actually does this or does that.
I'm surprised the French have that view. I feel like this is. I would never expect such an anti-collectivist statement to be an idiom in French.
Yeah, well, you had a lot of individualists in French at some point. Still have some, but it's not a majority view anymore.
But the thing is, when in 2010 there was a we, right? There was a handful of developers. There was maybe a handful of users. There was a we, and as time went on, the we got decentralized, and now there's just too many opinions. There's too many so now this we thing I had a problem with for a really long time. I used to say there is no we when there really was a we. In 2014, 2013, 2012, there's definitely a we. But at this point...
You got to speak into that one a little bit.
At this point, there's no we. It's Luke's we. Luke's little...
Yeah, exactly.
All right, this gets a little funnier. He wanted a proof of work change after the fork wars, after we got segued in, not before. He wanted a proof of work change. Okay, it made sense if you want a proof of work change. Jahan wasn't enforcing SegWit, fired the miners, that made sense. But a year after it was enforced, him and Cobra both were trying to get a proof of work change. That didn't go anywhere. Fast forward, how many years? What has it been? 7 years?
Almost a decade.
10 years? Shit. 10 years. So now...
Cobra didn't surface until 16, though. 16,
no, Cobra was always there. He's the one that runs Bitcoin.
Resurface. He became more public. With what you're talking about.
Oh, maybe.
It's 16 or 17.
Maybe. He was definitely in the Slack channels. He was already
He was there, but he didn't
maybe not on Twitter. Yeah. But they wanted a proof of work change. But now he's in a pickle. Because I would think that eventually, if all this junk keeps getting on chain, he's going to say, Bitcoin is broken. Miners are, we have these filters. They're not working. It's still getting on chain. We have to fire the miners. But there's a problem. The way he makes money right now is from SHA-256 miners. So he can't fire the miners anymore. Like that ship has sailed. So, I mean, the logical conclusion would be, okay, well, if you don't like how Bitcoin works, fork it. I don't know, change the difficulty like Bcash did, so lower difficulty so you could become more profitable. Change the hashing algorithm. I don't know, but I don't think he can do that anymore. I think that like he's stuck with this.
He's stuck with like a culture war.
He's stuck. That's it. I mean, there's really not much, unless like Ocean goes away. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Before it made sense. Like, it was never going to happen. It was going to be a UTXO fork. It would have been another shitcoin. But it made sense. At least you could get people behind it because Antpool was mining empty blocks consistently. We had ASIC boost and bleed. Like, you could make a case that we need to fire Bitmain. But you can't make that case. Like, they bent the knee. And now you have an entire, like, your entire business model relies on SHA-256 miners. So I don't know. He's in a pickle. I'm still trying to find these implementations in 2017 because I know there was like B-Core. B-Core had an implementation.
Bitcoin, the JavaScript one.
Yeah. There's a few of them. Hold on. I'll be back.
But that's not a true alternative implementation. B-Core was just, I think, the core client written in Java.
There was JavaScript client, full client. I don't remember the...
No, but I think it was effectively just
and
a translation.
Bitcoin.
It ran the same way. It was still like an application.
No, there was Bitcoin, which is a full implementation in JavaScript. I don't think it's maintained anymore, but I'm certain because the developers of this alternative implementation disclosed the vulnerability to Bitcoin Core.
There's BTCD.
Yeah, BTCD, Toshi, Core, LibBitcoin, NBitcoin, straight Bitcoin full node.
Straight.
Like, people don't understand, like, maintaining these things is not easy.
No, it's really hard.
If Bitcoin Core, sure, it's backwards compatible. All these upgrades over the years have been backwards compatible, but you have to like maintain, like you have an army of developers with Bitcoin Core. You have people that want to help and contribute. Who the hell knows who End Bitcoin is? Who wants to go contribute to End Bitcoin? Like, keeping this up is hard. Like, you can't.
I agree. I agree with that, and I think I don't know each one of those. I believe most of those can be equated to either like a translation or a fork from Core. There are very few alternatives. I would classify LibBitcoin.
That's the only one that I think is
that's a full completely
different. There are no UTXOs. Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
There's differences, and there are trade-offs. LibBitcoin's not finished. It's not perfect. I'm not saying that that's the answer. I do think that one day we may see somebody with real resources like the U.S. government or BlackRock fire up a full alternative implementation.
Yeah, good luck. I don't think that's going to work out.
I think it would be pretty trivial. It's not like,
It's not trivial. I don't
think the people, I think you don't have, if we have the developers that could actually maintain and develop the actual protocol level, like, there's how many people are in the world that could do that?
Look, I hope you're right.
50?
I'm just wondering if we
there's
want to
not
deal with
many
some
people.
of the issues before around sort of dealing with too robust. Because even at its peak, take out the Bcash, Bitcoin SV, Unlimited Classic, all that shit. At its peak, if we look at like Bitcoin knots, less than 2% of nodes run knots.
But that is Bitcoin Core. Like, knots is Core, man.
I understand. It's Core with a smaller team that fucked with it a little
No,
bit.
it's just like, it's little settings that they tweak. People think, like, when you say you can't change Bitcoin, they're thinking consensus rules. Like, and they can't understand that mempool policy, relay policy is not consensus rules. In fact, I showed you before, in 2010, we had a spam attack of somebody was sending one SAT transactions. Like, that's how we got the dust limit. The dust limit was put in there, like, because of that. Because somebody, basically for free, could DDoS the entire network if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So Satoshi was like, all right, well, we got to prevent this dust attack from happening. But if there was incentives...
The dust was not put by Satoshi, it was put by...
Gavin. So I thought it was Gavin in 2013. And then I looked...
It was Peter Waller in 2011 that made zero value output in non-standard. And then in 2012, 2012 or 2013, well after the dust, well after Satoshi dies, Gavin introduced the actual dust limit
Yeah.
that we know together.
Yeah. That was
So
the point.
Satoshi dice.
That's what the reason. That was the reason for it.
Yeah, well, it was well after. It was we had no. There has never been a tightening of standardist rules by Bitcoin Core in reply to actively demanded Bitcoin transactions.
So, how did it get to be all about op return? Because these don't seem like op return specific issues, as you were saying before, but that became a bit of the focal point. How did that happen?
Well, op return was always associated with the storage of arbitrary data, which, because it's the type of output that was standardized back in the days. But since we had the witness discount, JPEGers moved to storing JPEGs into witness data instead, because it's 4 times cheaper. So
What's your favorite ordinal project?
I don't think I know any.
Do you have any ordinals? No monkeys? Nothing like that?
No.
What else do they do? Bananas or something?
Rocks.
Rocks. There's the rocks
Well,
one.
one thing concerning that they do is that they have meta protocol of tokens, which, if widely adopted, could cause some incentive issues with mining. Miner extractive value, basically.